All right, welcome to the Franchise Time Machine. Tonight's episode 27. We'll be doing the roster reveal part 2 of our all-time greatest not safe for work player names in baseball history. Last night we went through the pitchers, had a really good time, and maybe I'll do a recap of those names real fast. And then there's a handful of pitchers that somehow got lost from the set. So I realized that today. So we'll start the batter set with a few pitchers that got left off. And then we'll dive into the batters. I think what happened was I was doing a search for right-hand pitchers, RHP or LHP, and some of these pitchers I had saved as SP or just P, so they got left off. So maybe before we jump into today's set, we'll just do a real quick spin through of the pitchers from yesterday. And one thing is there's certain names that are kind of pretty easy, low-hanging fruit, especially like the first name Dick. And for those, we set a little bit of a higher bar that they had to have, either a lot like the other name. So if it's an easy first name, then the last name has to really put them over the top, or there has to be something else about their profile that is uh, compelling enough to add them to the roster. So from last night, we had pitcher Mark Beavers, who at one point played for the Red Wave. Uh, the pitcher Gene Brabender, pitcher and injury designation Dick Burns. And here's one of the first examples of, Dick Burns is a good example of like you can't just be named Dick to get on the list. Dick Burns, I think, clearly deserves a spot. The next two had a last name that was kind of pretty easy, but their first names really made sure they had spots on the roster. Guy Bush and Randy Bush. The next pitcher had such a cemented spot in the roster that he was on the cover of the title slide. We have Doug Fister. And our next player is now apparently going by the name Richard, but we're going to go back to when he was still letting people call him Dick Fitz. And then this is next one's one of a few that if you pronounce his name right, it's fine, completely safe for work. But I think a lot of people might mess it up. We have Charlie Fuchs. Next is a pitcher I saw actually throw in person quite a bit, Charlie Furbush. And then the next player, in addition to having a great name, uh, also had a photo that definitely got him, sealed his position on the roster, and that is Pud Galvin from the 1870s, but that picture could easily be from the 1970s. And then the next picture is Mel Harder, followed by Buck Hooker, Dick Hyde. Get another example of how if your name's Dick, you got to bring something else to the table, and Dick Hyde certainly does. Johnny Cucks. Cheeky had a really good comment on this one. Quite enjoyed. Another one, if you pronounce it right, it's no problem, but Eddie Kuntz also gives you a little hint towards maybe another batter we're going to be seeing tonight. Another Dick on the roster, Dick Manville. And Cray McNutt. And then two unrelated pitchers of the same name, same last name, Dave and Seth Moorhead. And we've got former pitcher and pitching coach, Dick Pole. And then we've got Elmer Sexauer. And this one, if you know if the last name means from an Urban Dictionary perspective, you'll know why he was an auto add to this team. Urban Shocker. Followed by Bert Sincock. And the next player had a card in PT24, Liddell Cannonball Titcomb. And this one gets a lot of attention on some of the streams you might watch. Um, Chen Ming Wang. And then rounding out the roster, two more pitchers from last night: Dick Wantz and Fred Woodcock. So those are the pitchers I thought was a complete set, but I realized when I was putting the batters that I left a few off. So we'll go through those first before we jump to the batters. So again, this will be an addendum to the pitchers reveal. Oh, hold on, sorry. I just rebooted, so I lost a few things. Let me pull them back up. Okay, here we go. Hey, D Block, good morning. Thanks for joining us. I just did a quick spin through the pitchers from last night, and then going to do the rest of the roster today. It was supposed to be all batters, but I realized I left some pitchers off. So we're gonna go through a few more pitchers today, and then we'll go to the batters. Are you just getting up, D Block? You weren't streaming yet, were you? Yeah, just got up. All right. Can't remember. You start with coffee or tea in Germany? All right. Let's go over to the pitchers. The rest of the pitchers. I'll be curious to know, D Block, if I mean your English is great, so you'll understand at least, but how many of these would also be funny in Germany, or are they just kind of in English slash America funny? All right, so the first pitcher that we left off from yesterday is it might Boof Bonser, who actually pitched for the Mets. D Block says you're streaming in 6 hours and 15 minutes. For you, it's coffee. In the northern part coast area, is tea. The rest of for your parents, it's tea, and the rest is coffee. All right. I didn't realize. I thought, oh, 6 hours, 15 minutes. That makes sense because you're streaming when I usually get up. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to make it to raid into you, but I'm glad you're around. Okay, so the first one is Boof Monster. Actually, probably just sounds like a funny name, but if you look up Boof on in Urban Dictionary, you'll find out why he made the team. And our second pitcher that was left off last night, and I can't believe I left this off, partly because of the name, but also because we need left-handed pitchers. You always need left-handed pitchers when you're building a roster like this. It's Radhames Dickhoff. And our next pitcher would have made it on the name alone, could have guaranteed a spot if he changed his jersey number by a few digits. But we have Jansen Junk. And then our last pitcher, who was again left off last night's roster inadvertently, is Gene Crap. Junk is. I agree, dude. Like Junk is a good one. I have a feeling too in the when I do the broadcast, Junk is gonna particularly be risky one to put into sentences. All right, so now we have. Oh, I know why you're here, D Block. You want to see if there's a particular batter on the roster that I know you're a big fan of. Is that right? Do I have you figured out? I think you might even have a theme team or an alt account named after him. Hmm. Oh, didn't even think about him, but yeah. Yep. All right. Okay, you missed. You didn't see the pictures last night, did you? Well, I'm kind of also half waiting for a raid from Cheeky, so I don't mind spinning back through the last night's pictures if you want. I'll do it pretty fast. You tell me if any of them really bring you up to speed. Okay. All right, this is for you, D Block. We have Mark Beavers of the Red Wave. We have a card in PG 25. We've got Gene Brabender. We've got This is a good example of how if you're named Dick, you have to have a lot more than just a name Dick to get you on this list. Is Dick Burns. Same with some last names. This next pair, they're not related, but we've got Guy Bush and Randy Bush. Randy's actually not a pitcher, but because we had Guy Bush on here, I figured I'd take care of Randy now. In case you don't know, Randy is slang for like sexually aroused. So Randy Bush, it gets him on the team. Then we've got Doug Fister, Guy Bush. Let's go back to Guy Bush. Yeah, he is a little scary looking, isn't he? We got Doug Fister. He's Doug Fister's a very happy looking dude. In contrast, and then we've got a guy who's trying to change his trajectory. I guess maybe get him off the team, but he's now going by Richard Dick Fitz. This one I think is probably originally from your neck of the woods, D Block. And if you say it right, it's not a problem. But if you say it wrong, Charlie Fuchs. Is that a is that a German name? Kind of think that's it. Sounds like a German name. Oh, Fuchs means fox. Oh, okay. Yeah, you can understand though, right? How an American might mispronounce that. And then one of my personal favorites because I've seen him pitch so many times in person, Charlie Furbush. And this next one, the first name is American slang, so it might not be apparent to you. But if you look at his picture, I think you might also think the picture alone might deserve inclusion on the team. Pud Galvin. And then we've got Mel Harder. Uh, Dr. Dynastic actually had a really good joke about this next player last night. Um, Mr. Buck Hooker. Then we've got another Dick whose last name definitely gets him on the team, Dick Hyde. And Cheeky had a really good joke about this next one, Johnny Cucks. And then, oh, this might be another German name. Again, not a problem if you pronounce it right. But Eddie Kuntz. So Fuchs means fox. What does Kuntz mean? Then we've got Dick Manville. Oh, it's okay. Kunz means nothing, just a typical German name. Okay, but it is German. That's good. There's Trey McNutt, who also has an amazing picture. And then there's two unrelated pitchers. One's lefty, one's righty, named Dave and Seth Moorhead. There's a great name. And Ezra let us know that he was also a pitching coach for the Giants, Dick Pole. Kuntz actually has a funny story. Oh, let me hear it. I would like to hear a funny story about Kuntz. And I guess, is it just spelled slightly differently when we have Rusty Kuntz? Spoiler alert, he may be on the batter's list. Because Rusty Kuntz has an extra T. All right, D Block's going to educate us on some German names. Okay, the extra T is the normal way to spell Kuntz, but Kuntz without the T is not uncommon. Okay, so that was in response to my question, but that's not your funny Kuntz story, is it? And if it's too hard to type, you can. Oh, okay. In the '96 Euro, oh, in '96, the Euro was in England, and they had that famous song "Football Coming Home." Yes, I remember that. I remember that song. They started playing it again last Euro too, right? Or was it the last World Cup? I remember like the song made a comeback recently. England is Germany is maybe the rivalry in football. Yeah, okay, I can see that. I mean, it seems like that rivalry is not just limited to football, but yes, I can see how there'd be a big rivalry in football, aka soccer. At the time, Jurgen Klinsmann. Okay, I know Jurgen Klinsmann because he went on to coach the U.S. team, the U.S. national team, men's national team. Jurgen Klinsmann was playing in England and actually very popular. Okay. Oh, so he was on the German national team, but he was playing in the English Premier League. Assuming. During the video to the song, they had a parking lot game, England versus Germany. Okay. Oh, in the okay, it's in the music video. Got it. And they showed the players from the back, so you saw the names on the jerseys. For England, it was all stars for England, right? Makes sense. Hey, sideways stare. Welcome to the Franchise Time Machine, and welcome to the chat. Yep, Dick Pole does go hard. Don't Collect the D Black Dragons in the middle is telling us a story about the name Kuntz. We earlier, I'll scroll back up to that slide. We had a pitcher named Eddie Kuntz on the roster. And he's telling us about during the 96 Euros, there was a TV commercial. And in the commercial, there was a like a pickup soccer game, football game going on in a parking lot. And the English players all had English stars' names on their backs. And we're just waiting to hear the rest of the story about the name Kuntz. Sideways Stare, were you with us last night when we did the pitcher reveal? I'm just doing a quick review of the pitchers, and then we're going to jump into the batters tonight. For Germany, all had Kuntz on the. That's amazing. They all had Kuntz and one Klinsmann. Stefan Kuntz at the time was a player for Germany, and he had scored the most goals in the Bundesliga. So England played against 10 Kuntz and one Klinsmann. Do you like that? Is a great story. I wish I had found a screenshot of that. Uh, I would have added that to the slide. Spoiler alert: there is going to be a Rusty Kuntz on the batters roster, and basically no one in Germany got the joke. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, so I guess not all of this roster is going to actually most of this roster probably won't translate to other languages. But no, I appreciate it. That's a good story. And that's a screenshot I'm gonna have to find. That's good. I've got a D-Luck when we get to the batters and we get to Rusty Kuntz. The picture for him is one you'll like. All right, so catching you up on the pictures from last night. Where were we? Oh yeah, Dick Pole goes hard per Sideways Stare 631. And then we had the answer to the question, what time is it? It's Sex Hour, Elmer Sex Hour. And then we had, if you know, you know, Urban Shocker. I think the closest we came to anyone maybe going a little too far in the chat was a couple of the alternative explanations of the Shocker. But I don't think anyone really crossed the line. It was all pretty funny. And then we've got Bert Sincock. And then the next one had a card in PT 24, but I don't think we've seen him in PT 25 yet. Or maybe we have. Liddell Cannonball Titcomb. And then this one, we all know how Lap feels about how he cannot get enough of this pitcher and that he cannot get enough Wang, Chen Ming Wang. And then this one, I like the name. I like that it's kind of a sentence that needs completing. I like his picture. All goes together to get him on the roster. Dick wants. And our last picture from last night is Mr. Fred Woodcock. So those are the pictures. I thought those were all the pictures, but it turns out I had left some off inadvertently. So I was going to go over those tonight before we add the batters. All right. So, and this first one, D Block, I think even most Americans might not know what this means, but I highly recommend doing an Urban Dictionary search on the name. It'll help you understand why he was a must add to this team. And I was surprised I left him off considering it is Boof Bonster. And even if you find the definition, I don't know if this is a thing people do in other countries. Sideways stare. If you're still on, do you know what boofing is? I'm just wondering if it's like just something I happen to know and think is funny, or if it's more known than I thought. Oh, Cheeky coming in with a raid. Thank you very much, Cheeky. Great timing. I had just finished recapping the pictures from last night and was going over a few pictures that I had somehow left off the list from last night. I have four of them that were supposed to be on last night's list that I'm rolling out today. So we'll finish off the pictures, and then I've got a whole bunch of batters. So I think I was explaining to the chat that I think if you know what boofing is, then you know why this guy Boof Bonser's on the list. But I wasn't sure how common knowledge that definition is. And if it's not common knowledge, I can give everyone a G-rated explanation of what that means. Let me see if anyone wants to weigh in on if they know what boofing is. And actually, for some reason, I think I might be complete. Oh, you think you got okay? You cut it close to the router reset. 2 hours and 4 minutes. Cut it to 2 hours and 3 minutes. 50 seconds. But Cheeky, do you know what boofing is? Okay, you do know. All right. D Block, do you know? I doubt this is known in Germany. Reset right after you sent them. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Cheeky. Thanks for sending everyone over. If no one responds that they know what boofing is, maybe I'll just go ahead and explain it. Same idea of keys or yeah, yeah, exactly. So it means taking drugs or alcohol by inserting them in a very uncomfortable place. And I do not mean like the back of a Volkswagen. So that's what boofing is. So if you know what boofing is, then I think you understand how Boof Bonser was a must add. And frankly, I'm disappointed in myself that I didn't notice he was off the list last night. And it helps that his last name is one letter away from being Boner. Oh, Cheeky's saying they do it on Jackass with a beer bong. Okay. And for some reason, I thought it had come up during the Supreme Court. This isn't political. This is news. I thought it had come up during the Supreme Court confirmation hearings. But anyway, that part I don't know. That might have just been an SNL thing that I conflated with actual news. But yeah, so Boof Bonser, he's the first pitcher of the night left off from last night. The next pitcher never made to majors, but I'm hoping he has minor league stats because his name is too good to not have on the team. And we always need left-handed pitchers. Left-handed pitcher Radhames Dickhoff. Then third of the four pitchers that were left off. So we talked about last night. Some first names are too easy, so you need a good last name to go with it. I think this last name was strong enough that he would have had to spawn the team anyway. But when you see his jersey number, he could have gotten off the bubble and been completely safe if he just changed his jersey number by a few. But we have Jansen Junk coming in wearing jersey number 66. It's a nice number, but it could have been very nice. And then the last pitcher left off from last night is and frankly, I don't know why I left his name off. Somehow it got flushed from my memory banks, but I give you right-handed pitcher Gene Crap. And I don't know if this is urban legend or not, but I somehow remember hearing that the The reason the name crap is associated with what it is because the first toilets were manufactured or invented by someone named Crap, but that might be totally incorrect urban legend. But anyway, Gene Crap, welcome to the roster. And that completes our pictures, including the ones from last night. So now we have the batter reveal. And if you know your NSFW name history, you might know the two batters that are on this title slide, but we'll get to hear from them soon enough. So the first player coming in at first base is if you want to give your lineup a boost, might I suggest that you Adcock, Joe Adcock playing first base. And check out that picture. I mean, he looks like he can ball. Also had a little bit of what's that guy from Breaking Bad and Martin in the middle? Got a little bit of that guy's vibe going on. All right, the next one is a shortstop, and I think if he's in the game, well, I'll have to see if his defense is any good. But we can refer to the left side of the infield as the Bone Zone. Playing shortstop, Mr. George Bone. Now it's possible his name might be pronounced Bonet or something, but I didn't see anything to reflect that, so I'm going with Bone on this one. Okay, this next player, I think if he were playing today, he would make a ton of money doing commercials for medications for Peyronie's disease. If you don't know what Peyronie's disease, you can look it up, but you might be able to figure it out from his name, which is second baseman Benny Bocock. Um, to give you a clue, I think the commercials for the Peyronie's disease medication reference their website, which is I think it's called bentcarrot.com. Yeah, I think with a name like Bocock, I think he could make himself he can get himself lined up as like a spokesperson for them. So our next player is an infielder, and his name always reminds me of the scene in League of Their Own where Tom Hanks playing Jimmy Dugan signs autographs for some little kids, and they're reading the autograph out loud, and it says, "Avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan." We've got second baseman Stubby Clap. And so it's not just the clap story or the name clap, but adding Stubby to it, I think makes this a world class NSFW name. Well, I'm going to take a water break for a second here. Give me one second. All right. So next one, we got a contribution from Charles. You may know him as Warbot. Is it Warbot TBD? I always forget if it's TBD or TBA or TBC. I think it's TBD. He was already on the roster, this next player, but then he sent over an article that I thought was really great. So I give you third baseman Jim Cockman or Jim Cockman, probably Cockman. But this article Charles sent over, it might be a little hard to see, so I'll read it to you. It says Jim Cockman, who is doing pretty good work with the stick. So I think that author was doing a little wink wink with his writing there. But I thought that was a great addition to his entry on the team. So Jim Cockman doing pretty good work with the stick at third base. So this next player we've talked about a bunch of times. You know, you can't just have the name Dick and get on the team. You gotta if your name's Dick, you gotta bring a last name that gets you a spot. And I think this one qualifies from the Department of Redundancy department. We have Dick Cox. And I think for sure, you know, people had asked about Bobby Cox, and I think Dick Cox definitely, you know, is superior to any name that has just Cox in the end as the last name, or just has Dick as the first name. So Dick Cox. Now the next player I thought was the reason D Block was here, but apparently he had forgotten about him. I don't know how you forget this name. Um, it was a perfect team favorite from Perfect Team 24 last year. And I will say one of the most amazing things I learned about him is despite having an all world, all time NSFW last name, he still had a nickname. I don't know how you have a nickname when your last name is already Dickshot. But we have left fielder Johnny Dickshot. Oh, D-Block, you sent me the video of. Thank you. You sent me the video of the 10 Kuntz and 1 Klinsman. That's awesome. I'm going to check that out. That's great. Thank you very much. So, yeah, did you know that, D-Block? Your boy Johnny Dickshot, even though he had an amazing last name, he still had a nickname? I found that unbelievable. That's right, ugliest man in baseball. His nickname was Ugly. Yeah, Cheeky, his nickname was Ugly. So apparently just having the last name Dickshot wasn't enough. He was referred to as Ugly. Or maybe I don't know. From this picture, I mean, he doesn't look especially good looking, but he doesn't look especially ugly to me. Oh, he had to have a steel plate in his head. Well, then that's just mean. I mean, come on, his last name's Dickshot. He doesn't need a better name than that. Frankly, there is no better name than that. He's one actually. I thought about making a rule that he's Johnny Dickshot is always rostered and always playing unless he's fatigued because his name is that good. Oh, he had a steel plate that you could see. Eh, I don't know. I still don't think you need anything other than Dickshot. But yeah. Anyway, so speaking of nicknames, this next one is one of several where the nickname is what gets them on the list. But I only gave credit for nicknames where it was established enough that the nickname is actually the first name that they list or the primary name they list in Baseball Reference or Wikipedia. So if it was like something and then in quotation marks that nickname and it was like a funny NSFW nickname, I didn't count it. But this guy is in all the reference materials listed as Boob Fowler. So Boob Fowler definitely gets a spot on the list. So D Block, of course, I'm not surprised given you're a Johnny Dickshot fan. You have all these Dickshot facts, but you're saying here that's why he was able to play in the majors while most other people went to World War II and lost his playing job. When people came, oh, okay, so he was here. Let's go back to his since we're talking about Johnny Dickshot. Um, so the steel plate actually allowed him to stay out of the military and play while other people were going to the service. That makes sense. And frankly, I think no one could begrudge a guy for not serving in the military during the war if he's got a steel plate in his head. So I think he came about that playing time honestly there. So yep, shortstop Boo Fowler. So this next name, just like a couple from last night, if it's pronounced correctly, there's no problem. I think the problem is it's going to get mispronounced a lot. And this one is probably the most NSFW name on paper. If you see it on paper, I think people will be like, what is going on here? But I give you from Japan, outfielder, Keisuke Fukudome. But I chose an image with the back of his jersey so you can see pretty clearly. If you say that name wrong, it's definitely NSFW. And honestly, I've never heard some of our favorite daytime streamers say this name. I actually don't know if they would say it properly or not, or maybe they would just not risk it and just call him Keisuke. But yeah, he has a spot on the list. spot on the team. Okay, this next player, last name guarantees a spot on the list, but heightened by the fact that the first name is Jack. So Jack Glasscock is several shortstops on this team, all with great names, but Jack Glasscock definitely in the running for starting position on this roster. Because I think we are going to give starting positions based on name, not statistics. Oh, more dick shot facts from D Block. Again, I'm not surprised, but I am impressed. I'm impressed at this man's dick shot knowledge. I mean, I don't know why I expect any less from someone who's one of his teams is named Dick Shot's Dugout, but all right, let's see. Johnny Dick Shot. His dad's name was Dick Seuss. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Diksz Dick Seuss. Originally, when he came over from Hungary, but his coworkers could not pronounce it and called him Dick Shot. So that's why he changed his last name. So it is official. Legally had to change to Dick Shot, much to the chagrin of Johnny's older sister. Oh man, yeah, his poor relatives. Wow. I thought maybe it was like an Ellis Island thing where when people were coming over from Ellis Island, they had their names changed to something more American. And so I don't know what it could have been, but Dick Zeus, I guess, could be Dick Shot. Oh, the whole family's names were changed. Oh man. Oh, the poor sister. What was the sister's first name? Was it Ivana? Ivana Dick Shot? Charlotte Dick Shot. Okay. I think when I tell the story, it's gonna be Ivana. Yeah. Cheeky, clearly great minds think alike. Ivana Dick Shot. D-Block, I appreciate this, man. I appreciate your Dick Shot knowledge. That is a great story. So yeah, Jack Glasscock. Cheeky, you don't want to take yourself. Sometimes you can't help what happens on the field. You might end up with a Dick Shot. Or you know what? If there's a rundown and it goes long enough, he might come in from left field, catch you in a pickle, and you might have Dick Shot all over you. All right, our next player, catcher. And again, D-Block, this may not translate into Germany, but we've got Johnny Gooch. So, Cheek, earlier on your stream, when someone was asking this, I was like laughing on my end of the chat here, knowing this slide was coming. Oh, more. Okay, more Dick Shot content. Let me go back to the Dick Shot slide for this. All right, more Johnny Dick Shot content. Yeah. And when he lost, okay, so when Johnny Dick Shot lost his spot after posting a 300 batting average season, he opened a bar named Dick Shot's Dugout. Oh, so I thought you invented the name Dick Shot's Dugout. That's cool. That's a real excuse me, a real historic piece of knowledge, Dick Shot's Dugout. That's awesome. Hey, no. Not enough of Johnny D Block. If you've got more, I want to hear it. I will keep coming back to this slide. There is never enough Dick Shot. Yes, cheeky. D Block is a Dick Shot dictionary. No, I think dictionary is the operative term here. We don't need an encyclopedia. So D Block, I don't know if you're going to bother. Well, I don't know if Gooch is something that has made it over to Germany, but I will tell you that in this picture, um, if you didn't have any clothes on, you could probably see his Gooch. That's as far as I'll go. Now, this next player, just like with Dick, there are lots of Woodies in the game, so you have to have something special in the last name if you want to get on this roster. And certainly that qualifies infielder Woody Held. So actually, so I have a little anecdote here. Every time I see Woody Held in a game, which is often because like in iron or cap tournaments, he's a great player to have. He's like a 50, I think. And he can hit the ball. He plays multiple positions, so lots of Woody Helds. So every time I see it, which is often, I think about this graffiti I saw over a urinal in a bar once where it said, "Don't laugh, the joke is in your hand." And so I always think Woody Held, I always think of that graffiti. I guess so in my mind when I hear Woody Held, it's held as the past tense verb of hold. So that's where my brain goes. I don't know if that's the same for everybody. So the next players, completely unrelated. One from so long ago and played so little that I couldn't actually find a photo. Um, but they share the same last name. Now the first one's going to be obvious. The second one you might not understand until you say the name quickly out loud. So we've got Dick Hunt, which I think is very clear why a Dick Hunt should be on this team. But if you don't know why Mike Hunt is on the team, say his full name out loud a few times, and I think you'll understand. I'll give you a second to do that. And I think Mike Hunt is where in the broadcast, I'm not going to say Michael. It's going to be Mike Hunt. Okay, cheeky. I think this is maybe a joke, but let's go with it. Why did the baseball team fire Mike Hunt? They said he spent too much time in the dugout with his bat and balls. So I have a bit of a sore throat today, and every time I laugh, it makes me cough, and that one made me laugh. So yeah. In fact, in college, I met this dude in the dorms, and his first name was Hunt. It was like Hunt McDonald or something, and so we all started calling him Mike. So it was Mike Hunt, and he didn't like it, but we thought it was funny. But we're dumb college kids, so what do we know? All right, the next player, again, it's a nickname, but I think the nickname is in enough full usage that he definitely qualifies. And when you combine it with his last name, it's frankly so incredible. I don't know how people still say his name with a straight face sometimes, but I guess maybe we're just used to it. Or he's such a good player, like it does. You don't go to the funny part. But Heavy Johnson. And this with a lot of these players. I mean, he was super a good superstar player. I hope so. A lot of these players were good enough that like they were so good, maybe they didn't get made fun of so much. But yeah, this guy has been a stud in PT 24 and 25 and put up some amazing stats in real life. So Heavy Johnson. Okay, this next player again, nickname. I think his actual first name is Sherman, but the nickname is in such common usage that I felt okay adding him to the team. It's center fielder Snapper Kennedy. Oh, you got Heavy Johnson on your perfect team, Cheeky? Yeah, it's a good card, and you get that extra backup catcher ability too. So Snapper Kennedy, I think, makes it on anyone's NSFW team, but for me, it reminds me of this time where So you run Heavy Johnson, King Kelly as the backup. Yeah, yeah, great bat. You only have to run thousands catch. Yeah, gives you basically gives you another roster spot for a big bat. So Snapper Kennedy, I don't know if everyone would agree he should be on the roster, but for me, it reminds me of this time. We're at my friend's house, and her mom was like at the table with us. We're like just like eating her food or something. We're teenagers, and so we're at my friend's house, and her mom's there with us, and her kid brother is like complaining about the lawnmower, making fun of the mom for like not getting a new lawnmower and having this like super old lawnmower still, and he's complaining because he's the one who has to mow the lawn. And so the mom says, "I don't know why you're complaining. I don't see what's wrong with a 16-year-old snapper." And of course, we all lost it. And then ever since then, I can't see a snapper lawnmower without thinking of that story and laughing. And so when I saw Snapper Kennedy, I thought of that story. All right, now this next player, he's been teased several times. He's come up in the conversation tonight already a few times. He's on the cover slide, but D Block, for several reasons, I think you will appreciate the picture I found for him. It was an internet meme that went around a while ago. So you've probably seen it, but maybe you haven't seen it in a while. It's PT24 favorite and all-time NSFW team name player, Rusty Kuntz. And so someone caught this picture of this um, serendipitous shot here of these three players lined up where it reads Canerco gets Kuntz. And I believe Getz and Kuntz are with the Royals at the time, which is D Block's favorite team. So, hey, Max, welcome back. Wait, someone else in this time slot to pick up my Rusty Nuts. No, it's not Rusty Nuts. It's Rusty Kuntz. So D Block, I know you're a Royals fan. If you're still in the chat, do you remember when this picture came out? 'Cause I think he's maybe still is the coach of the Royals, but this is a Royals White Sox picture. And so if you haven't seen it, D Block, consider this my gift to you in exchange for your 10 Coots uh soccer video that you sent me. So Rusty Kuntz. Great card versus righties in PT24. Extra funny that he was in the game and got a lot of play because it was such a good card versus righties at lower level. I think one of the all-time um, great bits of humor introduced to the Perfect Team universe by Paul Sporer. A great Rusty Kuntz card that played for a long time. All right, our next player, I think maybe by virtue of the way of his last name, maybe extends into NSFW list for other languages. I don't speak many other languages other than Japanese, but maybe that would work for first baseman Pete Lecoq, who actually might have also had a PT24 card now that I think about it. Hey, Matt, you wanted to say hello before you go to sleep and wake up at 4? Oh, do you have to go to work tomorrow? Oh, man. All right, well, thanks for popping in. Good luck getting up for work tomorrow. Hope your day isn't too bad. I think you said you work 4 10s, right? So not only are you waking up at 4:15, but you have to work a 10-hour shift. Sounds pretty rough, but it sounded like you had a lot of fun streaming last night, so I hope it ended up being worth it. I was like hanging in your streams while I do my drafts late at night. All right, our next batter is it? Let's see. Yeah, that's why you're not streaming Saturdays. It's a recovery day. Ah, that makes sense. Recovery day slash hang out with your family after ignoring them all night the previous night. All right, that's good to know. I'll make sure that helps me knowing that like Saturday, I won't be stepping on your toes if I keep streaming on Saturdays. All right, well, hope you get some rest and you don't fall asleep and injure yourself at work tomorrow. Or maybe you have a boring desk job where you might actually fall asleep and nothing bad will happen. All right, our next batter is infielder. And again, a little bit of a redundancy here, but infielder Danny Mendick. And again, a lot of these players, it turns out, played for the Mets. So whenever I could, I found a Mets picture. So this is Danny Mendick on the Mets. Unfortunately, his cousin, Steve Lady Vagina, never made it to the major, so he will not be on this team. But we have Danny Mendick representing the family. Okay, our next player. I've included the parent the nickname in quotation marks because it's not specifically why he's on the team. It's the last name for sure. But I thought it made the whole name a little more humorous. We have center fielder Everett Dizzy Nutter. And I did think when you go with Dizzy Nutter, like man, it must have been so real good if it's making you dizzy. But we got Dizzy Nutter in center field. All right, this next player's outfielder was in PT 24. Will not be surprised if we get a PT 25 card for him as well. Great player, but also all-time great name. Left fielder, Spotswood Poles. The blood cheeky coming in with. Hold on, let me go back to Dizzy Nutter. The blood loss to the head made him dizzy. Yep, yep, Dizzy Nutter. So yeah, Spotswood Poles. Um, whether you go with spot poles, still funny. Spotswood poles, still funny. But also like pretty badass player, really good, perfect team card. So he gets on the field for the name, but he's gonna stay because of the stats. All right, so this next player, I'm kind of curious to hear the chat's opinion of this because every time, and even to this day, like in other affiliate streamer streams, uh, in commentary when I'm watching baseball games, every time this player's name is said, I start laughing and I look around and no one else is laughing, and I'm like, am I just that immature? Am I just somehow hearing this wrong? Am I the only one who thinks this player's name is funny? Every time I hear it, I think, man, Albert Pujols. How is no one laughing at the name Pujols? Yet, like, I feel like I'm the only one who thinks it's funny. Or maybe, like, everyone's heard it enough that it has gone past being funny to them. And for some reason, like, it's still funny to me. I don't know. I'm immature. I have never disputed that, D Block. That is true. But even when I'm around, like, if I'm watching a game at my daughter's friends' houses, and like they're uh yes, cheeky reinforcing the immature comment. But like they're like 11-year-old sons there, and he's not laughing. He's definitely immature. He's 11. Yet I'm the one laughing. So I don't know. Should he not be on the list? I think he's on the list. I think Pujols is an amazing name. And I mean, one of the greatest hitters in the history of the majors, the machine, the Pujols machine. So anyway, I have him on here. I think it's a funny name. I just don't know why no one else acts like it's funny when it ever is brought up. But yeah, maybe I'm just that immature. Could be. Could be. Uh this next player, shortstop, I always think of I mean I say always, I just heard about him in PT 25, but ever since then I think of this as what you get when you go to the beach, you get Heine sand. Shortstop Heine sand, welcome to the team. Shame, shame, shame on the thinking Pujols is funny, or shame, shame, shame on coming home from the beach with Heine sand. Actually, just like Dick, there are lots of Heinies. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna find the best Pujols. Okay, yeah, shame on me for thinking Pujols is funny. Okay, I can see that. I can see that. It's not spelled that way. It's not, it's just audibly it sounds funny to me. But yeah, so just like Dick, just like Bush, there are lots of Heinies. So I went with the funniest one I could find, which is Heine Sand. Okay, this next one, this has come up in other chats, and I actually brought it up to Paul Sporer one day after he did his Father's Day set. And when this player was in the set, I said, he plays first base. How is it that a hot shot to first base, a hot line drive to first base, has not become known as a Dick Sizzler? Because if you rocket one to first base at belt level, that should be called a Dick Sizzler, 100%. Without a doubt, every one of those line drives should be referred to as a Dick Sizzler. But it's not. Maybe I can create a movement to have that happen, but any hot shot to first, belt level, Dick Sizzler. D-Block, we're dropping some more knowledge. Let's go back to Heine Sand. Heine is short in German for Heinrich. And Cheeky saying it's Henrik for Swedes. Excuse me. Although I still think that doesn't explain why Heine then became slang for the butt or the backside in English. But it is good knowing Heine is short for Heinrich and possibly Henrik. Oh yeah, it even says here in the baseball card, it says John Henry, and then in parentheses Heine. T Block saying Henrik, Henry, Heinrich, all the same name, all Heinies. All right. So, no, are you guys with me? Can we try to get hot shots to first base be referred to from now on as Dick Sizzlers? It's a line drive down the first base line, and he snags that Dick Sizzler. I think it works. And it's historically accurate. He played first base. His name's Dick Sizzler. Anyway, his dad, Hall of Famer George Sizzler, and our first baseman, Hall of Fame NSFW name, Dick Sizzler. Frankly, I think Dick is in better company. Exactly. That Dick just hit a Sizzler right back. Sorry. I keep trying to hit the mute in time, but I can't get to it. So I'm coughing every time I laugh. All right, this next player, the first name you've heard in lots of jokes, but it doesn't build on the last name. So the first name is not why this player named Ricola. Yeah, I actually have some cough drops here, but they are not Ricolas, they are Halls. And I'm not sponsored by Halls, but I'm still name dropping them. This next player, so you've heard the name Seymour in lots of jokes, like in The Simpsons, calling Moe's Tavern and asking for Seymour Butts. But the name Seymour is not what got this guy on the team. It is center fielder Seymour Studley. And he played long enough ago and short enough of a time that there are no pictures online that I could find of Seymour Studley. All right, now this next one, I think there's a certain streamer out there who's going to be very happy to see this person getting some recognition, getting added to this team. Maybe he'll be sad he missed this roster reveal. But I give you catcher and Warbot's favorite, Tony Suck. So we may not have a Tony Suck in PT, but there is going to be a Tony Suck in the base game playing a season simulation with the NSFW team. Tony Suck. D-Lock, do you think Charles will organically hear about this, or should I go ahead and try to send him a message or send him this slide letting him know his boy Tony Suck has made the team? Probably figured out. He'll probably find out. All right. Send him a slide. He'll enjoy it. Okay, I will send him a slide. Made the team because he is sucking less. Well, I keep thinking about when I do the commentary, how I hope I don't get in trouble when the name suck comes before or after some of these other names. Like, there's got to be some sentence where Tony Suck and Johnny Dickshot come together in some way that is like, is going to be clip fodder for sure. But that's why I'm going to do the games. I think I'm not going to try to dodge it. I'm just going to go with it, and whatever happens is going to happen. Frankly, I think that'll make it more interesting to join in and watch too. So, all right, this next player, again, I've talked about how nicknames only get added if as long as no one as long as no one Tony suck a poo holes. All right, I've made it very clear. You only get on here with a nickname if the nickname becomes your first name in Baseball Reference or Wikipedia. And so, the early 2000s, the Mets had in their minor leagues Tim Tebow, and in the late 1800s, the international independent leagues had similar but not the same last name, right fielder Pussy Tebow. So apparently, the name Pussy was established enough of a nickname that this is his name on Baseball Reference. And this is an old school player. You can see he in the photo. I mean, this is back when they played without gloves, so he's barehanding this ball, and yeah, he's that's his name, Pussy Tebow. And then there's some first names that they're unusual enough and perfect enough that they're going to get you on the team no matter what your last name is. And that's the case with third baseman Butts Wagner. And in case there's any doubt, on this baseball card, it says Butts Wagner. And in BRAF, and I think also Wikipedia, he's listed as Butts Wagner. So he is on the team. And this brings us to our last batter of the night and rounding out the roster. I don't have a final count because of those four pitchers I forgot. But we're somewhere near 50, and that should be fine. I think 26 active roster, and we should be able to carry at least 24 on the reserve roster. But here's another player name who, if this is your injury designation, you know, better go see the trainer, better go get some ointment. We have third baseman Red Woodhead. So if you've got Red Woodhead on your team, that's fine. If you've got Red Woodhead on your body, that might be a problem. What's the ETA for the sim? Yeah, so I think I'm gonna make the sim roster text document tomorrow. Maybe on stream, maybe not. But I think I'd like to sim it on Monday night. D Block says it was still not tagged to something controversial that you had a Bond girl named Pussy Galore for the 1964 movie Goldfinger. Ah, that's true. And this is way before that. Which I'd hate to see what Lack would do if he finds a Pussy Tebow card that he likes playing. I mean, we hear the Kitty song enough. I'd hate to hear what song he digs up for Pussy Tebow. Or what D Block digs up, because I think most of those lap songs come from D Block. So Cheeky coming in with Redwood Heads on Fire might want to get a shot for that. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, that's our last batter, Redwood Head. All right, hope you guys enjoyed watching that as much as I enjoyed putting that together. And please join my Discord. I would like anyone who's got names they want to contribute. I'd like for it to be done via Discord, partially so that it might inspire other names from other people, but also so that I can give everyone acknowledgement or recognition for their contribution. Oh, Cheeky asking when the sim was. I think I'm going to do the roster document Sunday, and maybe do the first sim on Monday, as long as my throat doesn't get worse. And here is a current link to my Discord. If anyone wants to join and contribute names to this list, Um, this will be under the all-time greats channel, since this is the all-time great NSFW player names team. Yeah, Cheek, you saying take it easy for a bit, save my voice. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Try to get some rest, maybe go to sleep earlier if I don't stream Sunday night, and then if I'm feeling better, do that sim on Monday. The good thing is, I mean, I'm planning to do this a couple games a week until we finish a season. Unless we do a few of them and it's not as fun or funny as I thought it'd be. But if it's anywhere close to what I think it's going to be, I think this will be like a regular Monday night thing. I want to do it on Monday nights so that like it's less likely kids will be up watching it. Not that we have lots of young kids. I think playing OTP seems like an older person's game. But yeah, and the names aren't inherently offensive or dirty, right? It's just in context they're funny and dirty. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do it on Monday nights. Oh, and this was news I found in my inbox last week or from last week that I can sign up for Twitch affiliate status. So that I got my Twitch affiliate invitation a week ago and I didn't realize it. So yeah, thanks, Cheeky. I don't know if it's automatic, but I was in the middle of filling it out and I realized I didn't want to finish it tonight because I didn't want you guys to have to sit through ads to see this episode. But that's another thing I'll do Sunday while I'm recovering a little bit is that Twitch affiliate paperwork. And then based on the advice of a few people, including some in this chat tonight, I am going to ask OTP to become an affiliate. I wasn't going to do that initially because I was really just doing this to, hey, the Nolan Network podcast. Well, good to see you in the chat. Earn that affiliate real quick. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it was so quick. I hadn't even been checking my email. I didn't like. I don't know if you remember. You guys have been affiliates for a long time, but there's that screen that shows you like your progress towards affiliate, and I had filled out all the things like followers and uh, streams and hours like a while ago. I just it wasn't really on my radar, so I wasn't really looking for it. And then when some people suggested that I become an OTP affiliate so that I can give more drops to people. Like, yeah, that's fair. Like, I'm doing this for VODs that I can export to my YouTube. But if I can help the community by giving drops, like I'm all for that. So then when I reached out to OTP about that, I was like, oh, maybe I should see like if I can, what I need to do to become a Twitch affiliate too. I don't know if like one would help with the other. But that's when I found that email. I was like, oh, I'm behind on this. So yeah, I'm gonna fill that out. If you do not want ads, you can turn them. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, thanks, D Block. So yeah, I think yeah, I mean I'm new to this. If you guys ever have any input on kind of navigating that, I would welcome any and all advice. But yeah, so I'm gonna apply or finish that application for the Twitch affiliate thing, which the way I read it seems like if you just fill it out, it happens. But I don't know if there's like a acceptance rejection process. But so Cheeky, you agree? In your humble opinion, more options is always better for the viewers. Yeah, and I was thinking too, like I could be like the last gasp um uh drops for the community. So if they get to the end of the day and they realize they haven't gotten their max, they can hang out in my chat and or hang out in my stream and get their last drops. D Block says the OT community really helps to get to affiliate real quick, or partner in your case, from starting streaming end of October to partner in June. Wow, man, that's impressive. That is super fast. Yeah, if I hadn't said it already, and I think I have though, but congratulations on making partner. That's now that I'm streaming and like I understand what it takes to like what the requirements are for affiliate partner, that's awesome, man. That's great. But yeah, I feel like giving the community like a last ditch source of drops might be something nice. So I'm gonna look into that, and I've already reached out to OTP to try to make that happen. So um yeah, and for those of you who kind of helped advise me and made suggestions, like I really appreciate it. We also would catch the Euros waking up early. Oh man. So I think hope you get it. Thanks, man. I appreciate Cheeky. Yeah, the last time the Euros were on, it was before I was playing OTP. So like anytime there's like Euros or World Cup, or NCAA tournament, I get super obsessed and just watch it around the clock. This is the first time I actually haven't been watching the Euros as much as before because I'm so engrossed still in Perfect Team and OTP. But yeah, so that's kind of what's new on my end. And so I don't think any of that's going to disrupt what I'm trying to do with this and this other um here's some other stuff I'm working on. Where's that slide? There it is. So I still think these two rosters are going to be fun to build. The bust to best and then the what could have been, which are kind of related but a little different. And so Cheeky, you've been digging into editor a bit in your San Diego Padres 84-85 franchise save. This is where I'm going to take a bunch of busts, draft busts or prospect busts, and turn their performance into their max potential whenever they were scouted the highest. So they're going to basically be like what the scouts thought they would be, and then see what they do. And then what could have been are players who got injured or died, and turning their injury status to 0, and then just seeing like how well they do. And then this new weekly series, this is the NSFW series. So we did the roster reveals. I'm going to start the games probably on Monday. Monday, there's a 9 p.m. slot only for the Euros, so 3 p.m. Eastern time. So you can sleep in half. Yeah, so Euros used to mess with my sleep schedule. Now OOTP is already messing with my sleep schedule. So, but yeah, I will check out those games. I at least still watch the highlights. But there's something about watching the games in person and seeing them unfold, or not person, but live, and seeing them unfold. But all right, Chica, are you still on? Should I raid back to you? Do you want to like start back up and I can raid back into you? I don't know if you had more stuff you wanted to do. No, I thought maybe after your router reset, you might be going back on. All right, let me see who else is. Oh no, you want to get back on? Because if you don't, Cheeky's advice was to find a MLB The Show person. But yeah, Nolan, if you're gonna hop back on, I'll definitely raid back to you. Oh yeah, I watched some of your 1900 sim. Yeah, it's crazy how it's like you had so much trouble stealing bases in 1900. Everyone has high ratings but couldn't steal from other. Yeah, I wonder if it's because if you do that thing with baseball reference in the statistical years, maybe the 1900 season like stolen bases are just like way down compared to modern, and so maybe like even if you're super good at stealing, you're just nerfed to the extent that you just can't steal. Right, no, I'm on your page, your Twitch page, so as soon as I see you go live, I will raid into you. I'm glad you guys enjoyed this. I really appreciate the support and hearing from people how fun and funny this idea was because I was actually thinking about not doing it because I think there are lots of reasons to like worry about a roster like this. But I had enough positive feedback that I wanted to go ahead and do it. Cheeky's looking forward to the Sims. Great, I'm glad. I appreciate it, man. Even knowing that there'll be an audience of one is very helpful. All right, so Nolan's on now, so let me raid into him. Raid. Let me make sure I typed this in right. The Nolan Network Podcast. All right, here we go. All right, thanks again, everybody. See you next time. Enjoy the Nolan Network podcast stream.